space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim, and with me, of course, is Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And we're here to talk about the mid-season finale. Admittedly,
Well,
it's only
two-thirds season finale.
Yeah, possibly. And yeah, we didn't know it was the mid-season finale until about a week ago. So
yeah, I'm going to go with my theory from last week that this wasn't intended to be a mid-season finale originally.
No, that's what I was going to say. So we talked about this last week, and after having watched it, I think definitely like it's got a decent enough cliffhanger at the end, but it's not a.
It wasn't a cliff. Was it? Can you call it a cliffhanger episode? It wasn't like there was loads of action and it ended with someone going over the cliff and what's going to happen next week. And, whoa, they jumped out just in the nick of time. You know, like all them great 50s
it's not.
serials.
It's
but
more...
It was sort of building up to things, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's more of a regular episode with a hook for next week at the end rather than a building to a cliffhanger. But yeah, it's decent enough.
I really like this episode.
I did.
It isn't action packed, and it definitely. I'm gonna say I am 99% convinced this was never meant to be a cliffhanger, and we should expect Paramount Plus rolling out for the season starting again. Yeah,
I'm in agreement with that. It's like you say, it's a really low-key episode. It's the talkiest episode we've had of probably ever in Discovery.
It's one of those episodes that if they were making it how they used to, where episode by episode, instead of like filming the whole thing at once, which to do now. This is sort of one of those you'd go, oh, they've just spent a load of money previously. Or the last few episodes have a load of money, so they're saving money here.
Yeah, I mean, I still think a bit of that goes on. Like you say, the scheduling's a little bit different to what it used to be, but I still think they have to allocate the budget. And the last 2 episodes have been fairly low key, using existing sets, so it does look like we're being reserved, but. It's one of those talky episodes that Star Trek does really well, where, I mean, in this one, we've got 2 strands of it. We've got 2 main things going on, and both of them are good Star Trek concepts, Star Trek dilemmas.
Morality.
Yeah.
It's a morality episode.
And it does just devote the whole episode to those 2 things. And I want to take a bit of credit. I called it last week. I said we were going to do a Measure of the Man style episode for Zora, and that's what we get for about half of this episode. So let's have a dig into it then. So first of all, we've named the species that have sent the anomaly, and we're calling them Unknown Species 10C.
Yeah, now is it 10C as in TNCI? Or is it the number 10C?
I thought it was probably the number 10, then the letter C.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, like, I always have this thing about numbering systems, and it goes back to when I used to work in a shop, and we used to have to alarm up because they sold video players and DVD players and TVs and all that. And people used to come in and nick them. So we used to have to alarm up all of them. Like every single unit had to have an alarm on it, and they were all in a link together with a box at the bottom that actually made the alarm go off. And we had about 15 display stands, so we had 15 alarm boxes. And I went in and numbered them. I was like, right, we start at that end of the shop and we number them 1, 2, 3, 4, till we get to 15.
Yeah.
And then I were off on holiday for a week, and people started fannying about with them. And I came back, and it's like, this is number 13C. And I'm like, the beautiful thing about numbers is if you need the next one, you just go to the next number. We don't need a 13C. You just call it 14.
And the thing is, normally you don't have the number 13 as in a numbering system.
No, that's true.
Like, I used to work in restaurants, gastropubs, hotels, and normally you don't have a table 13. You'll have table 12B.
Yeah.
And a lot of don't have a room 13 in hotels.
No, a lot of
like, I'm working the really tall hotels that you get, but they don't have a floor 13.
No, they have like a maintenance floor, or they have this little weird half floor, which there's a really cool Batman comic, The Court of Owls, that deals with that. But my point is, species 10C. So this can't be the 10th species that Starfleet have ever discovered.
Well, if it's unknown species 10C, you've got to then assume that if they've gone through the alphabet, so this would be, so the 26 letters, so you'd be on 26 times 9 plus.
Yeah, but that's my point. Don't call it unknown species 1A, 1B. Call it 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But 10C also works as a name. You could call them the 10C.
Yeah, it does. See, the Borg had the right idea. Species 8437. There you go.
Yeah,
They've just
they did
clearly just gone up sequentially, and I'm happy with that. But anyway, regardless of the name, species 10C. And then going back to numbers, we get the president says there's representatives coming from all 4 quadrants. And that's really interesting, isn't it? That means we've got the Delta Quadrant and the Gamma Quadrant reps are coming to this. So it begs the question, how exactly are they doing that? Because we know that long-range travel's not really been working for a long, long time. But then
I'm going to assume Gamma Quadrant, that there's peace with the Dominion and there's free trade through the wormhole.
Yeah, okay.
And knowing a number of the books that it's established that they could then travel to the Delta Quadrant a lot easier after Voyager's time. And I think the Proto Star in Prodigy proves this point.
Yeah, we're getting an answer to that in Prodigy, definitely. She does say, though, that some of them are coming remotely. So maybe there's a bit of Skype going on. A few of them are Skyping in.
Like, to the Delta Quadrant, if the Borg's been defeated, have we still got access to their transwarp corridors?
Well, that's it. We really don't know at the moment, do we? It's, it is a bit of a baffling one, but hopefully we'll find out one day what exactly is going on. But
well, it hasn't been revealed yet. The Borg might actually be part of the Federation.
Yeah,
I don't see how they'd get there, but that'd be quite interesting if the subject beating a race like the Borg down to joining.
Yeah, I wonder how that'd work. Like, could the Borg or the X-Borgs or...
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll find out, maybe. But yeah, it's interesting.
Hopefully we'll see some of these species. Like, we should be able to recognise a few of them from DS9 and a few from Voyager, if they show us them.
I mean, there was a Ferengi there, the Ferengi that we've seen before. There was a Morn there. They've obviously got the Morn makeup, and they're really getting the money's worth out of that because we keep seeing him all over the place. So yeah, it's interesting, the 4 quadrants thing. Maybe we'll get an elaboration on that. I don't know. And then the other storyline kicks off, which is Zora, and Zora's worked out where the anomaly originated from, but she's not going to tell anybody. And that's your hook to go into.
Yeah, it's like you're malfunctioning, that you're disobeying orders. Which is a fair assumption straight off the bat.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to start it out with, because I think we did talk about this a little bit. Like, this is the danger of having an artificial intelligence or whatever else she might be hooked into the ship, because she can refuse to give up information, and she could, even if they worked it out themselves, she could refuse to jump them there.
Yeah. Well, Stamets points all this out, doesn't he? He points out the dangers of it, and he points out, like, they've seen what happened with Control and an AI trying to take over everything. So,
yeah, it's a good one, and you get where Stamets is coming from. Like, he starts off this episode, and for much of the episode, he's not happy about it. And obviously he comes round in the end, but you can see where he's coming from with that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then the man of many jobs, Kovic, gets put in charge of this now. So
now I think he plays a really good part in this.
He does, yeah. I'm not
because, like, I think he'd made his mind up very early on. Here, and then he was just letting things play out.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was the case. And yeah, he's doing it because he says it's as much of a, later on he says it's as much of a test of the crew and Stamets in particular as it is of Zora. So you might well be right that he's already...
Like, what I do like about this, the whole thing, it's sort of like, it's almost playing that Measure of a Man where she's on trial. But it's not in the same way. You've not got someone arguing that she's a toaster and all that. They've moved on from that.
Yeah. I mean, the closest, I suppose, is Stamets, but he never argues that she isn't alive.
Yeah.
He's just arguing that the unique position she's in and could be dangerous.
They've gone through them arguments with data. We've seen them arguments before. So this is done very differently. It's sort of like, well, is she intelligent? Is she a danger? Can we leave her in charge of a ship?
And we've also got this situation where they say that it's forbidden that an artificial intelligence can be fully integrated, which you wonder if... I know we got the synth ban overthrown at the end of Picard, but maybe is this a bit of a holdover from that?
Well, I'm thinking this with the artificial intelligence is probably more to do with Control from
it could be.
Discovery Season 2. I think it's probably carrying on that part.
Yeah, it did try and destroy the universe. So, yeah, it's pretty naughty. But anyway, they do a good job of setting up what the parameters are. So if you're an artificial intelligence, you're not allowed to be integrated, but we need to work out what she actually is. What about the Doctor, though, from Voyager? Because he was a fully sentient artificial intelligence and he was fully integrated.
Yeah. Well, this is where Star Trek always falls over itself when they try to do another one of these. It's, well, they've done a bit of that already.
But then I suppose...
to be fair, we haven't seen Voyager arrive home, and the Doctor hasn't been shown in any of the new series after Voyager yet. So we don't actually know how Starfleet treated him when he returned.
No, that's very true. And we don't know sort of, did they decide that the Doctor, because by the time they get back, like, there's an argument that could be made that while they were in the Delta Quadrant, they were probably just using special dispensation, like, we need him because we haven't got a
doctor.
We need this Doctor. And so there's an argument that could be made there that it was special conditions. However, on the other side of it, it could be the case that when he got back, they developed his mobile emitter to such an extent that it was okay. So
yeah, I'd like to think that he got to keep his mobile emitter, and he was no longer linked to the ship. He just had his mobile emitter, so he walked around like a person.
yeah, so he wouldn't have been fully integrated by
Yeah.
that point, which would make sense. Yeah.
And then he just becomes a different form of sentience, which is what Star Trek does well. Like, they've always done this. Like, they did it. It goes right back to Spock in the original series. It was letting us see an alien.
Yeah,
How they
absolutely.
are. And then we had, obviously, Data, and then the Doctor. I don't think we really had anything like that in DS9, but...
No, I mean, Odo was the sort of outsider character, but
Yeah.
he was very different to what had gone before. So, yeah, we didn't really do that. So, and I suppose Zora's the equivalent this time of it.
Yeah. It's letting us explore, well, what is life and what is sentience. And Star Trek's always been very good at this.
Yeah, and I think it does it well here as well. It may be, it's one of them, isn't it? It's difficult because we only spend about half the episode on Zora. Maybe we could have done a full episode, but then, like you say, we've already done Measure of a Man. We've already done all the stuff with the Doctor. We don't want to be...
It's like, if you start doing a full episode on it's, well, then you've got to do the parts that they did with Starfleet in another episode. And do we really need to go through a Measure of a Man again? Like, it was a great episode, so it doesn't need remaking.
Yeah, you're right. We don't need a full replay.
Yeah, sometimes it's good not to fix something that's not broken.
Very true, yeah. So
Matrix 4.
We get the rep from Earth comes back, and this is the person we met back in episode 3 of season 3, and we find out that she's got a promotion now, and we find out that Titan is now part of the United Earth.
Yeah.
So Discovery's impact there actually made a big difference.
And we also find out that the president's mother was human, so, like, the president seems like she's part human, part Bajoran, part Cardassian.
Yeah, definitely.
She's right, and I wonder if that's maybe why she's being made the president.
Maybe,
Because she's so I don't even know what you'd call
it.
Multi-species.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that's part of it, that because she's part this and part that and part that, it will make it easier to bring everyone back together.
And I suppose from the perspective of the politics of it, like if you're trying to get elected, she can speak to a lot of the electorate there. Like, I've got backgrounds from here, here, and here. And probably it'd encourage people to vote for her. Going back to the rep from Earth, then, she says, we were inspired by you. And she says that to Michael, and it's like... I presume when you say you're speaking very generally, because Saru was the captain and he was the one who dealt with you. Michael,
I'm going to assume that she's been in the Voyager crew, the Discovery crew.
Yeah, because it's like, Michael didn't really have a lot to do with that whole situation. In fact,
this partly through Michael's rebellious stage.
Yeah, because didn't she nick Buck's ship and go off and try and do her own thing and everything? So, Saru should have got the credit there, really. And then another returning character, though he's not been away as long, we get Taka. Taka, the dodgy Ricer fella, comes back. And you absolutely nailed it, I think, when we talked about him in the first episode. He is basically doing a number on Buck, isn't he? He's manipulating him.
Big style.
Yeah. And I had my theory that his little scar on his neck was because the aliens from Conspiracy had got to him, but you again got it absolutely right. No, it's all to do with the Emerald Chain. So that's my conspiracy theory out the window, but never mind. And he said, I mean, I don't think we're supposed to like Taka, and I don't like him. So that means the actor and the writers are doing a good job with him.
Yeah, now I wonder if this is going to be quite a big bluff with Taka, because he does start talking about his ulterior motives to want to do this and all that, and it's because of his friend and
yeah, he wants to go to a parallel
yeah,
universe, and well, we're jumping about a bit, but let's talk about that now then, because he says we were going to go to a parallel universe where there was no burn and there were no wars, and Buck says, "Oh, the mirror universe," and quite rightly, he says, "No, there's other alternate universes,
Yeah.
not just the mirror one." It's like, yeah, fair cop.
Well, there's the Kelvin verse is
Well,
a different universe.
yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, isn't it? Like in Star Trek in the early days, there was only one parallel universe, and it was the mirror universe.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. Whenever you did time travel in Star Trek episodes, they always fixed it by the end of the episode. So
Yeah.
it never
had an effect. It never had repercussions.
It never created a new timeline that splintered off. They always put it back how it was, or pretty close to how it was meant to be. But we live in the post-Avengers Endgame era now, and the multiverse era.
Yeah, it's strange that we're all quite comfortable with the fact that there's a multiverse out there now.
Yeah, multiverses are definitely the in thing at the minute. And, that's largely down to Marvel popularizing the idea. I mean, I go back to this. To me, there's two types of time travel. There's Back to the Future time travel, where it's all one timeline. You fix everything. Whatever you do gets incorporated into the timeline you're in, and that's that. And then there's the Avengers Endgame time travel, which is everything you change creates a brand new universe. Timeline. And Star Trek really has gone from a Back to the Future approach to an Avengers Endgame approach.
Well, to be fair with Star Trek treats time travel however it needs to for its story.
Yes, absolutely.
For whichever story, it treats it for however the story it's telling needs to work.
Yeah,
because let's be fair here. Discovery stopped Control and put things right and jump forward 1,000 years, and it's the same timeline.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you can still have those two types of time travel within the same universe. Like you can still fix the reality that you're in, and that works out absolutely fine, and that's great. But that doesn't mean that everything you changed didn't make another universe spin off somewhere. It's just that we're not spending any time in those universes.
Yeah, we're not made aware of them.
And this is the problem I think that Marvel are going to run into. That they had Doctor Strange explicitly say there's only one universe where we beat Thanos. So that means every other universe
has a Thanos.
Who's destroyed half the universe. So it just means there won't be as many people crossing over as maybe they want to. But anyway, we won't get onto Marvel spoilers. The president says that the Federation's now 60 member worlds. I'm sure it was only 50 something at the start of the season. So
it's definitely there's that species that Michael are there now.
Yeah, they've the butterfly people.
Yeah, they've rejoined the Federation by the looks of it. So
yeah.
So we're seeing that Michael doing something has had an effect.
Yeah,
he's got someone back in the Federation. So
yeah, I really like that it's a little background detail, and you could easily miss it if you didn't do podcasts where you analyze everything.
Yeah, but like in this episode, this species isn't thrown down your face as sort of like,
no,
look at us, we've just rejoined. No, they're just there.
Yeah, and it wasn't even, I didn't even catch it until I watched it the second time. I realized, it's them guys from the first episode. Yeah. Brilliant. And it's nice that we're subtly showing that the Federation is growing. It's gaining traction. More people are joining. Yeah. And they've done it just by giving us a different number in 2 different episodes.
Yeah. And and bringing these guys back. In fact, they probably didn't take the makeup off. They probably shot it at the same time, to be fair. Is the reality.
They might well have done, yeah. And so then we get your classic dilemma. Earth wants to attack it. We need to destroy the anomaly. Vulcan says, maybe not. Maybe there's a more diplomatic way. And Michael kind of plays the mediator, but it's very clear that she's more on
Michael speaks on behalf of the aliens because they're not there.
Yeah. And she thinks...
She comes out with a really good one, and it's... we can't judge their motivations based on our own cultural background.
Yeah. And she makes she uses an analogy of, well, you know, animals go and do this, but they're not doing it through malice. And it is a fair point. I mean, personally, I think this species will turn out to be evil.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely. I hope we have a massive fight and want a huge space battle. Done well, like we can see what's happening.
Yeah. But I never want that to be the first answer in Star Trek. I always want it to be this. I want them to always say, we need to talk to it. We need to try and understand it. And that's what makes Star Trek Star Trek. And it's great to have Michael arguing for that. And it's great to see that.
Which is going to annoy Buck even more.
Yeah, we are getting to this fractured thing.
Yeah, she's really not putting his feelings or taking his feelings into account at all in how she's acting.
No, but then she can't really in her.
No, I know why she's doing what she is, but when you're in a relationship with someone and everything you do is direct contrary to your partner's feelings and all that, it's not healthy in that for a relationship.
No, and it's, you know, at the minute it's not looking great, is it? Because they had that little bit of a tiff in the examples where he didn't agree with what she did with the guy on the planet.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it and we said they've been really mature about it. They've said it's water under the bridge. It happened. We disagreed. Let's move on. But now we're getting an even more serious contradiction, and it's, at what point does it become the straw that breaks the camel's back? You know, there's no way that Buck's not going to think now, well, actually, a couple of weeks ago, we really disagreed about something. And so I'm not sure their relationship will survive this, but...
Well, it's that, will the relationship might survive, but not if they're working together.
Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah, they might.
Which is sort of shown here with Adira and Gray.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, didn't we? Like, I've had this theory that it was going to end in heartbreak, and at the moment, it's not ending in heartbreak yet. They've said we're going to try a long distance relationship.
Yeah,
and you can go to Trill and see how.
Let's not forget these two are married.
Are they actually married? I don't remember.
I thought they got married.
Maybe. I'd have to watch that episode again.
I thought they got... I'll have to watch it again, but I'm quite sure that they got married and very young.
Yeah.
But now Gray, since he's got in his synthetic body, he obviously still cares for Adira, but it's all what I want to do. I want to leave.
And it's, are they going to make it work, a long distance thing? Bearing in mind, they've not been together really a long time, because Gray died the first time pretty soon after they were together, and then only existed within Adira's head, which...
Yeah, it was almost like a ghost following around.
Yeah,
I think is a good way to describe it, what it was.
Yeah, but the thing is, there is no way that was a 50-50 relationship. Adira had all the power there, because Gray could only exist as an extension of Adira. And then now that they're back on 50-50 terms, they've both got their own body, they've both got their own agency. Gray's choosing to pursue his own dreams, which is fine. But And again, you have to go back to these are two kids. This is your first love.
Yeah.
They've both got a lot more wisdom because they've both had a Trill who's much older. But yeah, this is two kids. Now they're going to be separated by a
and
huge
like
distance.
Gray no longer has the Trill even giving him advice on stuff.
No,
got the Trill.
So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with it. Another bigger sort of concern that this raises, and again, we talked about this when Tilly left, is we've got rid of Tilly. I know that people say she's coming back. We'll see. She's been gone for a good few episodes now.
It has been said she'll be back this season.
Yeah.
But we don't know if it's one episode or several episodes.
Or whether she's going to get her own Starfleet Academy spin-off, whether she's going to be a regular next season. So we're thinning out the main characters because even though we've not...
Was Gray a main character?
Well, in Discovery, it's a bit of a moot point, isn't it? Because, yeah, Gray technically, Ian Alexander is a guest star. He hasn't appeared in every single episode since he was introduced. But I feel like I know Gray a lot better than I know Detmer, or I know Washington, or I know Bryce, or I know Reese. So in the Discovery hierarchy, I feel like Gray's one of the more developed characters, and he's gone. And Tilly's one of the much more developed characters, and she's gone at the minute. So we're creating this vacuum.
Like, I think Adira's sort of like the Tilly stepping replacement.
Yeah, very much so. And I feel like we're going to have to develop some of the other characters if we want to keep this as an ensemble now.
Yeah. Which would be saying they need to do since season 1.
Yeah.
So, I'm not holding out. I really want them to let me see more of the crew, but I'm not holding my breath anymore.
Yeah, me too. But it's, this is the time. We've got a bit of an opening. Let Detmer step up. Let Washington step up a little bit and give them a bit more screen time. We've got rid of 2 characters that were taking up a fair bit of screen time. So let's see what we can do with it. Then going back to Zora and all of that business then. So Saru says that Zora means well. And Kovic is very much sort of playing like a poker face at this point, isn't he?
He's like, almost just listening to them.
Yeah, he's letting it all play out. And like you say, I think he knew exactly
I think he's already made up his mind about Zara, that she's sentient.
Yeah.
And, I don't think he has ever had any intention of ripping her out of the ship.
No, but one interesting thing he does say is they say, well, if you do remove her from the ship, will she get to choose her own form? And he goes, well, of course. So it's not a punishment. It's literally we can't let you exist in this form, but you're absolutely entitled to live. And maybe they would have made a golem like they did for Gray. Who knows?
Giving her a hollow emitter, mobile hollow emitter.
Yeah, or if she's tell you what they could have done. They could have put her in a Pontiac, and we could have had Knight Rider or something. Or put her in a motorbike. We could have had Street Hawk. All the 80s stuff.
I've been watching a channel, the Knight Rider Historians, and they've got 2 screen used kits, and they've recently found the semi, and they're restoring the semi as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And they know who's got the trailer, so they're trying to get the trailer for the semi as well.
Oh, go on. That's dedication. But yeah, well done. We could do all this stuff with Zora. We could have the spin-off Knight Rider, Star Trek Knight Rider.
I don't know if you noticed, right at the beginning of the episode, I know that I'm jumping back, but it showed another clip of Discovery being repaired.
Yeah, it did.
And I don't know if you noticed, it looked a lot more coppery sort of coloured like season 1 and 2, than the
Right.
silver that from the refit.
Right. So you
And I wonder if we're moving towards Calypso somewhere.
Maybe we are. We'll have to see.
Like it'd be interesting when we see Discovery in space if it was a trick of the light, how it looks more coppery.
Yeah, maybe. But like you say, with the programmable matter,
Yeah,
it's entirely possible that you can change the look anyway. So I think we've got our get out clause if we need it for that one. But it's going to be interesting to see how they get there in the end. So yeah, we've talked about like Stamets obviously scared and worried about control and everything. And this is when Gray and Adira turn up and they want to advocate for Zora, but Zora's come up with her own solution, which I think this shows that even though she's got all the sphere data and everything like that, this shows that she is a young life form, because this is a very teenager way of dealing with something. Like, oh, you say you're worried about me, right? Here's a switch that you can turn me off. It feels very immature. She's not realized that this is not really a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Like in theory it is, but
it's not really a solution. And
it's certainly,
they argue this point, don't they? They go, well, no, that's not good that we hold the power of life and death here if you don't do what we say. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't argue that, yes, I'm a life form, but you can kill me if I don't like. Yeah, if you don't like my decisions or what I do. That's not freedom at all. So yeah, it's a very immature solution to the problem, but Zora is a very young being, so I can see why she thinks this is the right solution. It's just good that we've got some adults there who can step up and go, no, having a kill switch is not the right thing. We need to find something else. Speaking of weird sort of solutions, weird systems. So we've got this forum where they're debating this thing. And the rules of this forum seem to be you can just beam yourself up to the podium and start talking. Because that's exactly what Taka does. Like, he's talking to Buck and he goes, watch this. Like, I mean, he doesn't say that. He says something like, you've got to choose your moment. And then he goes, boom, and he beams up. And he starts, and it's like, it's not open mic night. This is... this is like a major Federation conference with the heads of the Federation. Yeah, you've got to have some sort of system. I mean, you know, anyone who's watched Prime Minister's Question Time from the UK recently will know that we don't have the most sophisticated system, and it gets a bit ridiculous, particularly with the people. I've only seen 30 seconds of it so far today. I've got that to watch after this. But at least we've got a speaker who goes, order, order, and tells people who's going to speak next. Right, you're going to speak. You have to answer his question. You might be the Prime Minister, but I'm in charge in this house. Yeah, now it's your turn. But we haven't got any of that here. We've just got Taka going, right, here we are. This is what I want to do. And I just don't think that's the greatest. Yeah, it should have been more like Dr. Chris Wiley, shouldn't they? Stood at the side, and then the president, when she's had enough of telling a load of bullshit and making up stuff and saying, well, no, we only need plan B. Oh God, don't talk about plan B. Which again, it should have been sort of called in as a. Yeah, it should be right. The chair recognizes the delegate from RISA. Yeah. And okay, lets you have your say. Right, okay, you've said your bit. Is he even the delegate from RISA? I don't know. I mean, he's a scientific specialist, isn't he? Yeah, but that's what I mean. They should have been called in as a scientific specialist. So let's hear from you. But instead it's just, no, I've beamed myself in, so that means I'm speaking. Really? Is that how it works? Okay. And I didn't like the way that they voted either.
No.
Put your hand up or keep your hand down. And surely you'd have a pad that you could press so everyone else could see how you voted.
Yeah. And also, it's a little bit speciesist because, you know, the Tribble ain't got a hand. The Horter's not got a hand. How are they gonna?
Yeah.
I'd have thought someone in the editing process, you know, looking at the script would go, why don't we say appendage or something there instead of hand? Just
why not? Why don't it just put your answer in the pad?
Yeah.
And then you keep who's voting what anonymous, which is how voting generally works.
Yeah, because it leads to these situations where you've got Booker staring daggers at Michael like, oh, so you've put your hand up. And she's like, so you haven't.
Yeah.
And that could have led to a really interesting scene because you could have had Booker confronting Michael and saying, I know the vote was passed the way it was, but I want to know that you voted on my side. And then Michael has to say, no, I didn't, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more drama to be mined out of having a secret vote than there is to everybody putting their hand up. And
but like, we don't vote like that. You go and vote, and you're in a little booth. No one else sees what you vote.
And the other thing is, there's, I forget what they call it. It's something like, it's not confirmation bias, but it's something along those lines where if you are asked to vote and you see everyone around you raising your hand, you're more likely to raise your hand whether you actually agree with it or not. There's been various experiments done, like there's one that they do where they have a jar of marbles and they say, how many marbles do you think are in this? And there's something like 50 marbles in it. But what they do as part of the experiment is they say, right, there's a bit of paper there and everybody's written down how many they think they are. Just go and you go have a look at it, add your number to the bottom. And what they do is they put a number down, like they fill it out themselves. So they'll put 300, 275, 450. And even though looking at it, it's clear there's nowhere like that. You go up to it and you look at the marbles and you go, I don't look to me like, but these three guys have all said it's a lot more. So you end up putting something like, 275, even though you know.
Yeah, I'll play it clever and I'll put 276.
Yeah, and so you end up with this, and this is kind of like that, like, because they don't all vote at the same time either. No. It's everybody's looking and seeing, right, and what's he doing?
Yeah, and we want to get in with the Ferengi. They're buying so and so from us, and he's not put his hand up.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you'd have stuff like, you know, all these Emerald chain things. There's probably still a hierarchy of power in what was the Emerald chain. They're gonna be, oh, hang on, well, we get all our trade from them, and if we vote against them in this, so it's not the best system. I mean, we can pick it apart, but I think we have to accept that the intent of this is that it's a fair vote and that they've reached the right decision.
Yeah, I think that's the intent, but
yeah, that's what the story's telling.
And I'm assuming there's going to raise your hand where if you wanted, I haven't done, but if you wanted to play it slowly in freeze frame, you could probably work out which species had voted what.
Yeah, because I think when it very briefly shows a screen in front of the president, and you can see like icons popping up, and it's like the icons of the different worlds and stuff. So, yeah, you probably could. I thought it was interesting that the Ferengi voted for a diplomatic solution.
Yeah. No, actually, that makes sense because the Ferengi don't mind war because if they can sell weapons to everyone, but if they're part of the Federation now, they'd want to trade.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there's a rule of acquisition that says war's good for business, but there's a rule of acquisition that says peace is good for business.
Yeah.
But it could be that Grand Nagus Rom's reforms have continued to spread all these years later.
I like to think he was just an anomaly in the Ferengi.
Yeah, maybe so. They went back to the way they were.
It was nice that Ron rose right to the top at the end of DS9.
It was, yeah.
It was very much not Ferengi how he was.
Oh, no, definitely not.
And you'd like to think that, well, maybe he had a little impact through his reign, but you could see him being overturned quite quickly.
Probably, yeah. So yeah, this Ferengi, we don't know, but maybe its peace is good for business is the way he's going on it this time. And then back to Zora then. So we find out that Zora's changed her own primary program. Like her program now is to look after the crew and
well, they discover a little bit in a programming that wasn't there before and she's not aware of.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I like the way it's shown visually as well.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a subconscious. And subconscious leads to dreaming. Yeah. And I wonder if Calypso could be a dream.
Ooh,
to get around it.
That would be a very neat way of avoiding any potential pitfalls.
Yeah.
But yes,
I think they've opened it up quite nicely here. If they wanted to. They couldn't. Now she's got the subconscious, and it's where she's got these memories, and it's showing that she loves the crew and why she won't give the information because she doesn't want the crew getting hurt. But I think once you've developed that, you sort of move into the thing of dreaming as well.
So what we could do then is we could bring that character into it, Kraft, but have him in a different role. But it's the same actor, same guy, Kraft. And Zora falls in love with him, but obviously it's not going to work out because she's a ship. Yeah. And yeah, she has a dream about how it might have played out if they'd met in a different way. Yeah, absolutely. So
which would play in with the time travel of 1,000 years. What if she'd been on her own for that 1,000 years?
Well, they do show that she's dreaming about things that have happened to Discovery even before she came online.
Yeah.
So, that might be her way of interpreting the fact that they jumped 1,000 years is that she dreams that they've been away for 1,000 years or what have you. So, yeah, if we never get a proper answer to Discovery, I think we can make that official canon now. It's a dream of Zora's. But yeah, visually, the way they show it, again, I'm not meaning to keep going back to the Marvel films, but it looks a little bit like when you see Ultron's consciousness develop inside Jarvis and in Age of Ultron. So it looks a little bit like that. But yeah, we get the dreams and everything like that. And I think that's a big turning point, like for Stamets and whatnot, starting to realize, if she's got dreams, then she's not just an AI. She is something else, something more. And then we sort of get these dual speeches, don't we? Because it leaves it up. One scene finishes with Michael going, "Oh, you know what? I'll say something." And then it cuts away, and I thought, that's quite clever that they're just leaving it to our imagination as to what Michael might say here. But no, what they actually want to do is give us the scene of Stamets so they're both ready to give a speech, and we get these two speeches simultaneously. But they are both very, very, very Star Trek. We've got one speech about peaceful first contact and not making assumptions about new species. And we've got this other speech about trust and hope and making the world a better place and everything. So it's a bit soapboxy, but it's very, very Star Trek. So I'm not going to complain about it.
And I do like the solution for Zara.
Yeah.
And all that she wants to protect the crew. That's why she's not giving the information. So they make her part of the crew.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And then she follows the captain's orders as a crew member.
Yeah, she becomes a specialist and she's part of Starfleet. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And yeah, this is when we get, Kovic says, well, I've decided she is a new life form, so she's not an AI, so we don't have to extract her. And then he says, I'd have got rid of you, Stamets.
Yeah, I'd have transferred you.
Which is great. And then it's good that Stamets goes,
and Stamets said, you're right.
Yeah. So that's really good. And it's good that Stamets is the one who destroys the kill switch.
Yeah.
It's good that he understands how it works, because otherwise he could have accidentally turned her off.
I was thinking he could have very easily accidentally pressed on that when he flipped it over to pull it apart.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? He might have just been blagging that he'd been won over. He could have just been like, actually, boom, turned you off.
I win.
Yeah, you were going to transfer me anyway. So there we go. And then our developing romance between Saru and the Vulcan president. He brings is it a flower he gives her?
Yeah, he brings her the flower that the tea that she made him was made from.
Yeah, you see, they're such a cute couple.
It was a great present, but he brought her flowers.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Now, this is a really steamy romance in Vulcan.
Oh, for a Vulcan, absolutely. And these are going to be a right power couple. You know, you've got Saru, who's pretty much in charge of Kaminar. Yeah. And now you've got the head of Nivar. You know, these are going to be a right.
This is a proper power couple. I hope they do develop this, that they do become a real couple.
Yeah, I hope they do. Because Star Trek doesn't often do long-term relationships. You know, like we had Sisko and Cassidy Yates, which was really good.
We had Dax and Worf.
Yeah. But it'd be nice if we, rather than just having the one-off romantic episodes, if we actually commit to this and go, right.
You mean like Riker and the androgynous boy?
Yeah, that was a one-off episode.
Yeah, that was very weird.
It was, I mean, you could argue that it was ahead of its time in terms of dealing with non-binary things. And
but it just didn't seem in character for Riker.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that was the problem with it. If they'd done it with another character, someone else from the ship,
and I don't think, you know, it's ambitious to do that back when they did it, but I don't think we as a society, had a great enough understanding of non-binary and things like that, and it's taken until now really that we're doing. With Adira. So that was not TNG's greatest moment, but points for effort. But yeah, weird one. So the twist then, well, it's not really a twist because we've seen it coming, but Taka goes to Book. He's got the new spore drive, which Book's like, whoa, it's tiny. And it is. And it just integrates into the system. So he's right. This is going to revolutionize travel. It's dead easy to interface with systems.
But you can't make it work without...
No, you need a navigator.
A navigator. He hasn't solved that problem. And this is why he needs Book.
Yeah, this is why he's been working on Book.
There's only Book and Stamets.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have got Stamets.
No.
So, yeah, he's... I mean, in a way, he's quite lucky because Book has had an enormous trauma and he's very emotionally compromised. Right.
And like when you look at it, Michael's decisions, how she's treating the aliens, is almost driven into this.
Yeah, true.
You can thought her lack of support for him. And we've already said you can see why she's doing what she's doing, but he's her partner.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And I think you have to say Michael is responsible for driving him to this decision.
To an extent, yeah. I think she probably should have been more in tune as to where his head was at. Like, we could see this coming.
Oh, look, she's very inexperienced like this, isn't she?
True, yeah. Yeah, her only other relationship was with Ash, and that didn't work out very well. So, yeah. But, yeah, we can see this coming. And, okay, we've got a bit of an advantage because we've seen these scenes that he's had with Taka, and she hasn't seen that.
Yeah.
But if we can see that coming, she should see it coming.
Yeah, but it's like I said, when she's saying, let's not attack the aliens, we've got to approach them diplomatically, let's not do this to them. And he's seen them destroy his world. It wasn't like he was off somewhere and he heard about it. He saw it happen. He saw his entire species wiped out.
And it does make you wonder, because when she finds Grudge in the quarters, it sounds like she's about to ask Sora where Buck is. But it's like you should have gone to see him immediately after that vote, because you should have anticipated that he would have an emotional reaction to it, and you should have been seeing if he was okay.
And explaining yourself.
Yeah. But they don't. Instead, we do get a bit of a cliffhanger. The ship jumps away. They're off to detonate this weapon, which, nice bit of continuity. I've got it on my notes, the name of the weapon. Oh,
it's a subspace.
It's a subspace one, but there's a particular name for it. And it's the same type of weapon that they use in Insurrection, that the Sona use.
Right.
And in Insurrection, they say it's banned as well.
Yeah.
So it's another one of these good examples of where the writers, instead of making up something new, have gone back.
Hold on, we've already used this.
Yeah, we've got something that does that. Let's say it's that.
Yeah.
And yeah, well done. I can't remember. Theleron radiation or something like that.
Yes. I know what you mean.
But yeah, so good bit of continuity there. And then if you were watching on Paramount Plus, you will have got a little bit of a trailer for after the mid-season break. But I think for anyone who's not seen that, we won't
go into it because, like, anytime they show these trailers, you can hear a voice saying something while some action's happening, but they're not actually necessarily connected when you see it.
Yes, exactly. And trailers do lie. Which, again, going back to Marvel for the last time, but everybody saw the Spider-Man trailer where Wong says, "Don't do that spell, Strange." And he says, "Okay, I won't," and gives him a wink. That doesn't happen in the film.
No.
That's a totally different conversation. So, yeah, we won't cover the trailer, but we will be back to cover Discovery after the mid three-quarter, whatever season break this is. Next week, we've got a new episode of Prodigy, and we're also going to go back to the Dominion War. We're going to talk about Adversary, the season 3 finale of DS9. So, plenty.
We know what comes after that.
We do indeed. Where the Warrior is going to be awesome. But in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, we're on Twitter at RetrekPod. You can email us retrekpod@gmail.com, or you can come and join us on the Facebook page. And thanks for trekking with us this time. We will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Bye-bye.